Good afternoon. In such a complex world, why do some people succeed time after time while others seem to suffer from chronic failure? Do pure luck, raw talent, or genius intelligence determine success? Our world isn't run by the luckiest people, the most talented people, or even the most genius valedictorians. Certainly, these are great things to have, and we'd all love to have all of them. But sometimes we can't control these things, and they have their limits in the real world. As a 15-year-old, I'm not saying I've unlocked the secret to life, or anything close to that. As one of my friends mentioned, I'm no successful businessman, world-renowned psychologist, crazy magician, or anything of that sort. For me, grit is that quality that helps us conquer the challenges in our everyday lives. And those challenges in our everyday lives are inevitable. Think about it. If you're around a teen, if you are a teen, you can't stand how many times you hear the phrase, as if this day couldn't go any worse. And you know it's true. Too often we approach projects, activities, with a lot of excitement and passion that somehow just disappear when things start to go wrong, when these challenges in our everyday lives start to come up. And it's these moments where grit is tested the most. Think about your New Year's resolution. Have you kept it until now? Judging by the reaction of the audience, half of you can't even remember, the other half have no idea. And you know it's true, and I can't blame you. I've suffered many of the same experiences. We say we want to have a New Year's resolution. We want to make amends, make ourselves better for the new year. But all that happens is that we force ourselves to do something we aren't passionate about. And at the end of the day, forcing yourself to do something you really don't want to do, that you really don't want to follow with conviction, doesn't work at the end. On the other hand, people with grit know exactly why they're doing what they're doing. They have that clear purpose that they know what they want to do. And then they have that conviction that helps them pursue this purpose. Through success and failure, people with grit know exactly why they're doing what they're doing. And by doing so, they find every way. They find any way, even when there are obstacles in the way. We all have things that we're passionate about. And for me, chess is one of those things. I've been playing for around 10 years now, and recently I was awarded National Chess Master. Long journey, let me tell you. I've lost so many games, so many that I just, inexplicable. You can just imagine me as a 10-year-old, losing 5, 10 games in a row, not improving my rating for an entire year. You can just imagine how a younger version of me could have felt, in despair, without hope. But I feel like I've come to realize some sort of purpose with the help of my coach in the past couple months, maybe even year. And it was because I thought about this idea. I knew I had to revolutionize the way I saw chess through a different lens. Before, it was like I had been really excited to try out this new video game. And then I'd skipped the tutorial, and then I was just left running around in circles, hoping I'd make some progress. But we all know that life doesn't work that way. So through the years, through these past couple of months, I've been thinking a lot about why I play chess. And my coach has helped me come up with a lot of different types of ideas. He's influenced my thinking a lot. And when I play chess, I play for the mental workout, but also to learn some things about myself. I've learned that my style of approaching things in life is often reflected on the chessboard. So I take every game as an experiment for me, as a way for me to toy around with life, but it's like I get unlimited lives, which is pretty cool. I mean, I know all of us wish we had unlimited lives. But again, just to emphasize my point, it's that we need to find something else to anchor ourselves to. When we win or lose, those are not things we can always control in our lives. And that's why it's so important to find a purpose beyond just winning and losing, to make ourselves feel like we accomplished something. We made some progress even when we had some failures. During the chess games, I've also realized that it's so important to visualize our purpose in a literal sense. For example, my coach and I have been working a lot on visualizing this ideal position on the board and then formulating a plan to go towards it. Honestly, it seems like such an obvious thing. Everyone knows how to do that, right? We think that. But then when we go into the game, when we get into those pressure situations, panic hits us. We start blanking. We don't know what to do because of inexperience. And that's what brings me to my next point. This is not a skill that you're going to develop in a couple days, a couple months, even a couple years. It's a skill that takes training on a daily basis. Speaking of training, I've heard a lot of articles citing 10,000 hours as that magical number of hours you need to succeed or to master something. But for me, it really isn't so fixed. 10,000 hours of proactive training is so different from 10,000 hours of reactive and aimless training. And I know it's tough. No matter what you're doing, training every single day with a purpose in mind is difficult. You're going to have days where you feel lethargic, where you just don't want to move, where you just want to do training for training's sake, not with a purpose. But grit is going to be the quality that helps you get there, that helps you get to that level of achieving efficiency during your training. And of course, after I implemented these different techniques, skills, different ways of looking at chess and how I play, why I play, it's not so easy. And when I play chess, even after I implemented these things, I still found ways to lose. Believe me, the first tournament, I might have lost all my games after I started. The next time, I improved a little bit. The next time, you thought I was going to win all of them. No, I lost again. But it's these failures and the people around you who support you, who give you that extra grit when you need it. As Martin Luther King once said, the ultimate measure of man is not where he stands in times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. The ultimate measure of man is not where he stands in times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. It's those times of challenge and controversy that test us the most, where pure luck, raw talent, and genius intelligence aren't enough to help us conquer the ever-changing world. And it's so important that we think about these things in a society that imposes so many things on us that we don't take the time to think about. And ultimately, the leaders of this world, the people who change the world the most, take time to find purpose in everything they do. Recently, I was reading a biography about Steve Jobs. And before, I had known a couple things about him, but I found out a couple things that I found particularly shocking. Of course, he always had this passion for computers, innovation, technology. He dropped out of college after 6 months to pursue this passion, starting Apple Computers in 1976. But later, he had some success. 10 years later, he was actually forced out of his own company, a story I'm sure many of you are familiar with. But what I didn't know was he was already well past a millionaire. I'm sure if the average person had the money he had when he was kicked out, they would have just stopped working. I mean, they would just live a happy life forever, never have to work again. But for Steve Jobs, money wasn't his main motivation. He wanted more. He had a true philosophy to stay hungry, to stay humble, to live every day like it's his last. He had this purpose to revolutionize the way people see technology. And when he returned to Apple in 1997 as the CEO, he sparked their golden age. He got them back on track for profit. When people were using computers for 4 to 5 people, he strove to make them for 1 person. And it was this gritty attitude. When he was fired from his own company, he had enough money to retire. But he didn't. He had the grit to be focused and disciplined, to apply his philosophies and purpose on a daily basis. And trust me, it didn't happen, as I said before. It didn't happen in a matter of a couple days. In his case, it took many years, decades, for him to polish these skills. And if it weren't for his gritty attitude, we wouldn't be able to enjoy the technology that he's revolutionized, the technology that's approaching its 10th year anniversary in a couple of days, the iPhone. Obviously, grit isn't the only quality that Steve Jobs and other entrepreneurs utilize, But it's at the core. It binds together other important skills like ambition, integrity, leadership, problem solving, creativity. All these things would be so difficult to embody in the real world where conditions are constantly changing without this essence, this force of grit. Let me leave you with one last thought. Do whatever fulfills you, whether it's reading, writing, traveling, socializing. I know many of the teens out there, just all they want to do is social media. Doing charity work, studying a field of major, whatever, do whatever fulfills you. But if there's one thing I want you to take away from today, it's that you need to find meaning and purpose in everything you do, beyond just success and failure, which are the uncontrollable. Control what you can control, and that's the attitude you take towards things. It all starts with the little things. It might be as simple as writing something down in a notebook and looking at it every day when you wake up. If you're a more verbal person, it might be waking up, going to the mirror, and screaming at yourself until you find something you want to do today. And hopefully at the end of the day, as Steve Jobs said, you can be happy about you would live that day again. And after you find this purpose, it's important that you have the belief, the conviction that you will do anything it takes to bypass any obstacles, to block out all distractions, to make progress towards this purpose. Let me tell you now, life's never going to be easy. I wish I could sprinkle some fairy dust and everyone would just live happily ever after. But life is tough. We have challenges, some unexpected, some expected. So we need grit to conquer the tough challenges. And grit is also so important when we excel in life. Thank you.
All right, talk amongst yourselves. We're going to set up for the next one.
Thank you.